Somebody say change. The narrative. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you are tired. And I know you are hungry. But I want to tell you a story. And this story will fill your belly. Am I a poet now? Where's that other poet? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm talking to you right now, I have goosebumps running down my body. And this is not to exaggerate because some of my friends are here. Tunde Onakoya of Chess and Slums is here, people. Please appreciate him. Tunde is my friend. He knows my story. He knows my journey. He knows my transition. So to be able to be on this stage right now, today, it's a miracle. It's a miracle, and I'm going to tell you that story of how I transitioned from literally a slave to become the man I am today and become a young millionaire, to change my narrative and the narrative of the people around me. I was born in Onitsha 20-something years ago. I won't tell you my age. And I lost my father when I was just a year and 6 months. And my mother was still pregnant with my younger brother when my father died in 1998. Now you know my age. And, you know, just like the former speaker says, when you lose your father, the breadwinner, at an early age, it changes the trajectory of the family. I was born into a middle-class home, but because of losing my father and having 3 siblings plus me and a single mother, we went back into poverty. I was raised in a rough neighborhood in Onitsha called Awada. When I was 17, I went into servitude. There's something called the Igbo apprenticeship system. Now, the Igbo apprenticeship system, with all due respect, is being romanticized in the academic circles. And there is good reason for that. But then, the idea behind the Igbo apprenticeship system is marvelous, it's amazing. But what it has become on ground today, if you observe, everybody that talks about the Igbo apprenticeship system is some professor, some researcher, some master's degree holder. None of them is the houseboy, is the apprentice themselves. None of them comes up to these stages and tell their story. But today, I am an apprentice. I was an apprentice. And today, I will tell you the story of the Igbo apprenticeship system from the perspective of an apprentice. So I went into the Igbo apprenticeship system. Basically, the idea is, after the war, especially after the war, the Igbo practiced it, but especially after the war, the Igbo land was decimated, you know, economically destroyed. So they had to pick themselves up, you know. And how did they do this? I sell motor spare parts. I will call Emeka, my brother, my blood brother, teach him the business, and then make him a competitor, like establish him in the motor spare parts business. He will start doing it too. And that is why Igbos dominate business, because they would start it, bring their brother, train him, he will start it, bring 2, 3, 4, 5, and that is how we are spreading out. And that's why we are able to rebuild as a tribe and become the most successful tribe in Africa economically. So that's the idea of no one gets left behind. In Igbo, it's called Onyayana 1 year. You pick yourself up, then you pick your brothers up, and they pick other people up, who pick other people up, and so the goodness continues to spread. Now, that is the idea behind the Igbo apprenticeship system. But what it has turned into today is, because if you take your brother and you have an issue with him, maybe he misbehaves in the business, you cannot deal with your brother as you like because your family will intervene. But if I take Sesi, who's from Ondo State, I can treat him anyhow I want. I can exploit him, and if he messes up, I will send him home without giving him what we call the settlement. What every Igbo apprentice looks for, what every apprentice in the system looks forward to is the day his master will reward him. You don't get paid on what you do monthly. You get paid. You get settled. That's the word. At the end of 6, 7, 8 years after serving your master. Okay? Yes, you don't get paid. You only get food, shelter, and clothing. You work at home and you work at the shop. You know, you live with your master basically, and he owns you. The word is own. Your family cannot intervene in anything that involves you and your boss. He basically becomes your owner until the day he settles you. That is the day you become free. I entered the system in 2013, and I stayed there for 5 years up until 2018. and I was able to free myself. And I will tell you that story shortly. So while I was a houseboy, now I haven't been able to go to the university. I will still go, but I haven't been able to go to a tertiary institution. Because once I came out of secondary school, which I was a very smart student, I was the senior prefect of my school, but because of lack of financial capability, I had to enter servitude. There was no option. You see that I joined boys in the streets, or I go to school, or I become an Igbo apprentice. So I chose to become an Igbo apprentice, at least to start doing business, so that in 6 years, I'll be free enough to help my family. My mother was a hawker. I'll be free enough to help my mother and help my family. All right? So, but even while I was a houseboy, I kept educating myself. The world we are in, Tunde said something to me the other day. You can learn how to build an aeroplane on your phone. Education doesn't have to be when you go to Unilag. You can educate yourself. And that's exactly what I did. I kept educating myself. I kept going on Facebook, kept watching videos from people like Nas Daily, GoCast, people, speakers, motivation. Yes, they say motivational speakers, avoid me, like to inspire and aspire. But the truth is, some people like us, and that is why I am called, they say my company is Gem the Conk. I was a houseboy, but I believed I was a conqueror. Why? I heard what this motivational speaker said. So I said, my name is Gem, and I am a conqueror. So I called myself Gem the Conk, And I believed so much that I would conquer the challenges of life. And that is why motivational speakers, as much as we said they should avoid us, are doing a good work, trying to help these people. These owned slaves, these people that are downtrodden, believe in themselves. Because when you believe in yourself, you can change your narrative. So I went after knowledge. Key point, I went after knowledge. And I helped it helped to build my capacity, even though it was through YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I was just consuming content. And not just consuming content. I started producing content. I started writing stories on Facebook. I realized that stories are powerful. Just like Pokodota mentioned. Stories are powerful. Everything is a story. Everything. Music is a story. The Bible is a story. Everything is a story. And if you can learn to harness the power of story, you can change your life. And that is exactly what I did. I wrote stories on Facebook. I will write a story. I will publish. Okay. This is when I was a houseboy. This was my master's shop before. And then I was able to transform it to something better. And then I shared these stories on Facebook. I would take a picture. Look at how I'm able to change my master's shop from this into this, And I kept sharing these stories and people kept following. And that was how I was able to, on one of the platforms that I shared my story, meet a professor from the US I haven't shared this story anywhere before. But this man saw the kind of stories I post and knew that and asked me, which school did you go to? I said, I haven't gone to school. And he said, and you are this smart, this politically astute, this, you write so well. I would love to invest in you as a person. What do? I tell him I'm a houseboy, I'm an apprentice. And from their own standard, he checked it and realized that it's akin to modern day slavery, because at the end of the day, your master can tell you go. Your master, you can have an issue with your master's wife and you'll go. Nobody will interfere. You don't have any right. Just to buttress, when you enter servitude, they tell you are wrong. Like, the day you enter servitude is the day you become wrong and your master is right. In Igbo, we say, the master is never wrong. So, what you have is a system where the master holds all the keys and holds all the power. The houseboy can never win against the master. He can decide to, on your 6th year, send you home. And there will be no legal, because who are you? You don't have 1 million to settle yourself to go out to court and sue your master. You can't sue your master. Your master holds all the power, But then again, this man decided to get involved. And after just a month of meeting this man, he was able to secure my release, paid the millions of naira that my master demanded and that I've been able to make for my master, paid it off and released me, and I became a free man. All right? After I became a free young man, I ventured into welding. I already opened a barrow business. This is the Gem the Kong barrows that I opened in Onitsha. And just a little background, I realized that some of the things we overlook in this Nigeria, like Iyakilikli said, some of the things we overlook, you might think it's quickly, but she's making 29 million naira every month or so from it. Barrows, you might say, barrow, what is barrow? But this barrel brings 300 naira, 400 naira returns every day. Times it by 20 barrels. And then you times it by a year. Money. You know? So it's finding ways to innovate. Small things like barrels, you brand it, give them t-shirts, educate them, and then you leave them. Because this barrel business, as small as it is, it feeds 20 families. It feeds 20 families, as you see, I'm so. All right? So I started this even when I was a houseboy to make more money for my master. And that was part of the things that this man, this professor from the US, paid off of. So after I left servitude, I decided to enter into welding. I went to one interior village in Oba and set up a welding business. I was able to also build it too. People might look at welding and say, this job, people suffer. And yes, it's a very strenuous work. But skills over just knowledge. If you learn the skill of welding, you can use it to feed for life. So I was able to establish this business of welding, and I ran it for 3 years in Oba before I handed it over to my brother and then focused on Happy Vibe. You know, and one of the things I also want to share is how I remained on the happy side through all the challenges. I don't want to go into the details of how I fought with my master before he released me. He didn't want to release me because I was an asset to his company. It wasn't even about money anymore. It was an asset. He didn't want to let me go. My life was threatened, but I still remained firm that I want to live and I want to become a free man. But one of the things that helped me in all of this is I remained on the happy side. I remained positive. Please develop a positive mindset, no matter what you are going through. I always post on Facebook that one day, and I keep working towards it. But please maintain a positive attitude, because when you maintain a positive attitude, your journey becomes easier. Even though it's hell, you will be able to push through that hell because you believe that one day things are going to be better. I kept remaining on the positive side. And that is why during the pandemic, when everybody was screaming, when everybody was depressed, when everybody was sad, when everybody was paranoid, I decided, what can I do from the comfort of my room to give joy to the world and also get value back? And that was how I started Happy Vibe Services. You know, we help people to make calls. I will help you call your mother, your brother, your sister, and say happy birthday to them and tell them you love them. Just little things. Say a few words to them on behalf of you in their local dialect. Hausa, Yoruba, Fulani, Igbo, Ibibio, Efik, Urobo, Isoko, different languages across Nigeria. That was the idea. And I started it and people bought into it. And today, we've been able to make over 25,000 calls across the world. And that is how we are changing the narrative in our own little way. You know, and in all, I just want you to understand that there's something I learned, I think on this TED Talk, where he said, if the hunter keeps writing, if the hunter keeps writing the story, you know, the lion will always be the villain. That's a way, you know, until we learn how to tell our own story and own our narrative, you know, we will always be subservient to other people. And one of the reasons why we are gathered here is to realize that us as Africans, we can change the narrative. We can decide that we can change the narrative. We can decide that we won't do things via the status quo. And that is how we are going to transform not just our lives. I've been able to transform the lives of my family, my brother. I've employed, my brothers are all working in my company. They manage branches of my company. And that is because I was able to change my own narrative. So I'm going to try to summarize the story now and give you just points that you should hold on to as you change your narrative. So number one, know and believe. Know and believe. You must believe in yourself. You must believe in your abilities, even though you are from Onitsha, even though you are from Ajegunle, even though you are born in Makoko, you must know and believe that you are born to do something great, that you are born to do something in this world, that you are born to change narratives. You must know and believe this, because there will be people that will look at you and say, Chukwuma, you are a nobody, you are a nothing. They said that to me. But you must know and believe that you are something. And if you believe and you are confident in who you are and your capabilities, then can you start your process of changing the narrative. Have a sense of ownership. Whatever you do. When I was serving my master, I took his business as my own. I rebranded the business. I took it to radio. I brought celebrities into the market to advertise for his business. Built him a website. I changed the company. Totally, the outlook of the company. Even though it wasn't mine, even though in 6 years, I might be settled or not, I took the company as mine. So whatever you do, when I'm working with Chess in Slums, I take the organization as mine, because I believe that once I contribute to this, all of us, once the greater good is achieved, then we've changed the narrative. So take ownership of whatever you do. You are not just doing it for that person. You are not just doing it for your master or your friends or the organization you are part of. You are also doing it for yourself, because you will be learning. You will be growing through it. Okay? Number 3, and very important, go after knowledge. Make sure that wherever you find yourself, you keep learning. Like I said, I haven't gone to school here. A lot of people are like, That's what happens all the time, because I keep going after knowledge. I keep learning. I came to Lagos. I lived in Ikorodu for a while. Then I moved to Yaba. Now I'm in Lekki. And I'll keep growing. I'll keep growing because I am always hunting after knowledge. Okay? Number 4, develop a positive mindset. Make sure you are always positive. Make sure you always stay on the bright side. Even when things come to discourage you, don't let yourself go. Always believe that one day things will be better. Number 5, have mentors and advisors. I had mentors who, through the journeys, helped me to navigate it. Whenever it gets hard, I will run to my mentors. Baba, see what my ambassador is telling. He's threatening my life. Or look at this case. Look at, he will tell you, take it this way, take it that way, take it that way. And that is the reason why I'm being able to achieve a lot of things my age mates haven't been able to achieve, because I have mentors and advisors. And then number 6, stay humble. No matter what it is you achieve, please stay humble. Please stay humble and keep your head low, keep your head in the game. Don't ever think I've arrived. Keep changing the narrative in your own little way. Stay humble, no matter what level you get to. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is my story. And this is how I was able to change my own narrative from a houseboy through storytelling and through other acts and through being innovative. I've been able to change my narrative and narrative of my family and the company. My company employs more than 60 people. I've been able to change my narrative and narrative of the people that work with me. And it can also be your story. Just believe in yourself no matter where you are coming from. I'm not just trying to motivate you. I am a living example. I'm a living witness. Keep doing these things, these points that I gave you, and you will be able to change narrative. And one by one Chukwuma after the other, one Tundo Onakaya after the other, what's your name, sir? One integrity after the other, we will be able to change many narratives and rise as a people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chukwuma Ezeh.